your friend that you just mentioned, that picture kind of became a big part of your story, right? Did that
Yeah.
actually cause issues in your marriage, or is that what the angle that they were trying to use that for, in your opinion?
Well, I think, well, it definitely did because I got arrested on a Thursday, and the whole news cycle, the whole week, every news station was me being arrested. And then by Sunday, it kind of died down, you know. And on weekends, news is pretty much, you know, there's not a lot of news to report. So, of course, I was on there all weekend. So by Sunday, when it kind of calmed down, I remember my ex-husband had to stay at his friend's house because the FBI told him, you cannot be with her. You can't be around her. And then they told me, you can't be around guns. You can't be around anything. And I'm like, okay. And I had pled guilty, you know, but they immediately put me on Fed supervision. So I was like, okay. Um, Sunday, my former sister-in-law sends my husband, who she knows is completely devastated. We're completely like overwhelmed with what was going on. She sends him an article from the Daily Mail, and it says love triangle. The hero cop divorces his wife after being down to the Capitol with another man. And I'm telling you, he was so embarrassed. He was like, now everyone thinks you're cheating on me. And as a man, I get that. Like that's a huge ego, you know, thing. And I was just like, I couldn't even comprehend what I was saying. I'm like, are you serious? And then Inside Edition that week and People Magazine and then Snapchat. I'm on Snapchat and I'm seeing me on Snapchat. And I have stepchildren who are on Snapchat. I have my
Right.
children. So he didn't believe it. But I think what got to him was the millions upon millions of people that were reading it believed it. He had colleagues that were like, what, Jen was down there with another guy, you know,
Right.
and it made it look really, really bad. Um, and honestly, they were like, oh, they had secret Facebook messages. Like they try to play it up. And I'm like, what's secret about that? Release them. You'll see exactly what we're talking about. You know, I was
Right.
commenting on the rally, like, hey, are we getting a tour? Are we getting a bus? Are we riding on a bus? Or where's the hotel rooms at? You know, that's what we're talking about. Like, release what we were talking about. We weren't talking about, you know, hooking up in these rooms, you know. Um, I always laugh. I'm like, the only man I was down there to see, you know, was Trump. Like,
I hear
yeah,
you.
yeah, that's it. I wasn't down there for any other guy. But yeah, it did. To this day, he'll say like, you know, great, everyone, you know, is going to read about you down there cheating on me again. I'm like, but I wasn't. And he knows that. But when you care about what people think, it does affect you. Me, I don't care. I don't.
I
I
hear you.
stopped giving a fuck a long time ago. Um, you know, to have to explain to people that I've known for years that that is not true, that sucks because I'm like, you know me. When do I have time to do that? I was raising five boys at the time. You know, I had three stepsons and I had two sons. When did I have time to cheat on my husband? I was very proud of him. You know, I was extremely proud of him and the work he was doing. And I wouldn't disrespect that. But of course, they ran with it. Because they saw we got separated and filed for divorce, but that was just a cover to keep his job. But they took it and, you know, we took it and did, you know, a thing with it, you know,
Right.
and then they took it and turned it around and did their own thing with it. So,
Yeah, it's definitely probably not the fairest thing in the world that probably happened to anyone.
and now on top of being said, you're a traitor to the country, you're an insurrectionist, you're a white supremacist. I then you're an adulteress. I was like, wow, they got me on everything. And then they were like, we're murderers because we're down there killing cops. And I'm like, oh my God, like I never in a million years, you know, I would have thought that would happen. But
And potentially it was horrible for him too if he had anything going on, possibly. I mean, that it could have the same result, not great.
yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. So and then Kenny, who I was down there with, he had a fiance at the time. And, you know, I hadn't talked to Kenny since everything went down and I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, you know, that poor woman, thinking I'm down, like he's Kenny and I have been friends forever and then she's probably thinking, really, were they friends? What were they doing? And she
Right.
kicked him out immediately. I mean, he was out, you know. So it we had a lot of bad stuff going on, not just waiting for our arrest, you know, getting sentenced, waiting for all these, you know, job loss. We had this thing at home, you know, where my stepchildren were destroyed by it too. You know, they didn't trust me anymore. They didn't know what to believe. Um, and it did. I haven't talked to my stepchildren in, oh gosh, 4 years. Yeah, to pretty much to today. I text them when I was down there, and they were asking me, Jenny, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. It's the last time I talked to them.